Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Let's Get Together, a social club for seniors. And I'm Heather, your host for today. I want to let you know that this program is being recorded for future viewing on our YouTube and other media channels. So please be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel so you can stay current on all of the other goodness that we're going to be posting for you. So I want to say an extra special thank you to AeroCares by Lockheed Martin employees, and also a thank you to Hesta Stewart Christian Trust. Both gave some grant funding for our program. And the program today is Flashback. Today's Thursday, February 2nd. It's already February. And I think yesterday was Groundhog Day. What's the groundhog? Punxsutawney Phil? Isn't that his name?
Yeah, Punxsutawney Phil.
Did any of you watch any of the news? You know, I'm sure there was a news story on the.
No.
I think I saw a clip not long ago from years back where someone was handling Punxsutawney Phil and he bit the guy's finger. Oh, and he kind of course, the whole crowd started laughing, but
yeah,
I don't know what that means for the weather.
He's just ornery that day.
Yeah. So if he sees a shadow, it means there's 6 more weeks of winter, or if he does not see it.
I don't know. I don't remember. That's too many years ago. We talked about all. When we were kids, we always talked about it.
Philip, do you recall what means what on Groundhog Day?
If he sees a shadow, is it 6 more weeks of winter, or is it if he doesn't see a shadow? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't either. I bet you Google knows.
I'm looking at it right now.
Google, she knows everything.
Okay.
Hey, Dusty.
Howdy.
Hey, man.
Looks like you're getting nowhere fast.
I am. I can't stand this staying inside and not moving around business. So I put my treadmill underneath my desk so I can walk while I work.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. If Punxsutawney Phil sees his shadow, there'll be 6 more weeks of winter.
Okay.
If he doesn't, spring comes early.
How long? That whole tradition has been around for years and years.
Let me see if I can find.
While you're looking that up, I'm going to pull this program up.
Comes from a Dutch superstition.
Oh, really? Dutch, huh?
Mm-hmm. So basically, that's why it's Pennsylvania, because of the Pennsylvania area.
It makes sense, yeah.
So essentially, when they came, the German-speaking came into the country in the when it was 1800s, I think, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's when a lot of this started.
That's kind of a neat history. That's a long history.
There was a book or Farmer's Rules printed in 1823 that talked about it.
Oh, okay. I'm sure it almost sounds like it might be the origin of the Farmer's Almanac.
Yeah, I think so, because it was basically Farmer's Rules, the same thing, what happens. Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, it still don't mean nothing.
It's more of a ritual at this point, huh?
Yeah, it's more of a fun folklore type of thing.
Traditional, yeah.
Yeah.
Do it each year to say you've done it each year type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've tried to open the slides to start from the beginning, but it isn't doing what I want it to do. So let's just see if I can find a little workaround.
Okay.
All right. And now Martha put this together for us. So if you've already seen some of these images on one of her programs, let me know. I don't want to duplicate that. But these are all new to me because I haven't attended her 10:30 or her 1:30 program. But tell me about this image you see on your screen.
The milkman.
Milkman. It looks like he has a couple of smaller jars also.
Those are probably cream.
Okay.
Yeah, they had butter and they had a few items besides milk. I can't think what I know.
Yeah.
Butter was one.
Uh-huh.
I think they had cream, and I think they also had buttermilk.
I was going to
too.
ask about buttermilk. Uh-huh. Well,
Yeah.
if they had buttermilk, would that mean that they also had yogurt? I mean, would it be like a thicker, or did that come later?
I think it's later. I don't think yogurt was an American thing for many years, you know.
Yeah. They
So
might have
what
had
was-
eggs.
They
Mhm.
carried eggs too?
I don't
Could
know.
have,
I'm supposed to say.
they could have, yeah.
Oh. Where did the milk come from?
Cow.
No, I know that.
They had local dairies, you know, farms would raise it, and then like where my parents are from in North Dakota, they had a local creamery.
Okay.
So the farmers would bring their milk into the creamery, they'd process it, and then it'd be distributed out again.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
and they'd do the milk in the bottles. They made ice cream, some of the best ice cream in the world.
Mm.
You know, they had the cream, all of the products that would come out of a dairy type of thing or creamery was there.
Okay.
You know, and that's how basic it was, because it did come straight from a cow into a bottle into the house. They actually processed it a
There was a
little bit.
process. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah,
how did someone place their order?
you left your bottles out on the step
Mhm.
if you wanted,
Yeah.
unless
If-
you
if-
wanted different. If you wanted different, you put a note in the
Right.
bottle.
If
Okay.
it's the first time, you would basically somehow contact the company and they'd come by or leave a note somewhere, you know, and say, here, we want such and such milk, how many bottles of milk or whatever type of thing.
Okay.
You know, so it was kind of like, it's almost like a newspaper guy, delivery guy, you know, he'd come around, you know, he had a route and he'd come around and drop them off, you know, that type of thing. So, it was, and I think I don't know if the milkman collected or somebody else collected, you know, the fees afterwards.
Okay.
I don't.
Huh. All right. So the carrier had to keep all of the milk and the butter and cream and everything cold,
Yes.
refrigerated. Did they just have
Yeah.
blocks of ice on a big truck and just keep it stored in there?
Well, they did that until they got the refrigerated trucks, you know, and then they would. But yeah, it was basically blocks of ice in a truck, you know, kind of. It was an insulated truck, and you've seen pictures of them. They're very distinctive style. You know, you can't miss a milk truck, you know, for truck. So anyway, that's what it did. Yeah, it came around, delivered milk.
Was this only kind of in the city, but not necessarily in rural areas, or was it both?
It's in rural areas too. It's rural areas. You know, it
I don't
depends
know
on
about that.
depends on the situation in the rural area. Rural area, you know, they had the farms. A lot of people had the farms, had the cows, had the milk, but sometimes there were little communities out within the farming areas. Okay.
Okay.
And so they would use the milk from the farms to service those people.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That makes
so
sense.
That's why, like, they started the creamery where my parents grew up in Bottineau, North Dakota, so that they could distribute it to all of the people in that whole area, you know, type of thing. Even the small little communities who were there.
What was the era? I mean, from, if you had to guess, what kind of time frame was this like a common thing?
I know we got it in the 50s.
Yeah, I know they had it in the 50s because I had a friend in high school whose father was a milkman for my mother for a while.
You get the milkman when you're a kid?
So it went quite a while. I don't, there used to be some delivery even later in the 50s.
Remember it when I was
Okay, let's Google it now.
Mr. Phillip, do you remember the era when the milk delivery was a common thing?
I remember when I was about 6 or 7, we got milk until then, and around age 7 we stopped. I don't know why, but
be about 1960 then, when it stopped. 1960 when it stopped.
Oh, okay.
Well, that
So
would be,
yeah, so it must have been like a decade of the 50s.
yeah.
When it stopped, Philip, did you guys end up, do you recall going to like a local store to get whatever you needed? The milk, the cream?
I remember my parents and me, I guess, because they were that way. They were kind of skittish about getting it from the store, but they've been
really?
getting from the milkman for so long, and I had a that was a milkman, not a milkman delivery, but he milked cows.
It was a dairyman.
He was a dairyman, had a farm.
Hmm.
So they were used to that.
And so being skittish getting it from the store was just because it was something different?
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, that makes sense. Anything new is going to have its own, kind of element of unknown, and that makes sense.
Most of it kind of, I say, faded out in the, let me think here, early 2000s. They're still delivering milk. Some people are still delivering milk, some things. Now, I think it was a little bit different because they didn't have the bottles. I think they had the cartons type of thing. When we lived in Thailand, they still delivered milk. This is in the 90s. And, but they basically had it in the back of a pickup packed in ice. Yeah. We didn't buy our milk that way. Let's put it that way. We were kind of a little scared of it by that time. But anyway,
Huh. Wasn't there something too with the sodas? I think it was after that, but you had the glass bottles and you could return the glass bottle to the store for a nickel or whatever it was, some sort of a refund.
For a long time, that's what you had. You purchased your first one and then you brought the bottle back and you got I don't know, I think I remember like 2 or 3 cent refund or something like that. Yeah. I remember as a kid collecting bottles people had just, thrown away and then taking it down and exchanging it for candy.
Oh, really? That's smart. Where did you find the bottle? I'm sorry, Dusty, go ahead.
When I worked in the grocery store, we had to I forget the word now. Anyway, we had to separate the bottles, the RC bottles, the Coke bottles, and all of them to return to the driver.
Okay.
The store had to turn the bottles back in just like a person. Either that or they charge you for the bottles.
Right. Yeah. If you wanted to keep the bottle, you got charged for it.
Well, in the store, I don't know about it. I mean, I'm talking about buying it for our sale in the grocery store.
In Thailand, they basically, if you wanted the whole bottle, you paid a lot more. Otherwise, they would take and they put some ice into a plastic bag, pour the Coke or soda into a bag, and tie it up with a rubber band and put a straw in it.
Oh, really? That's how they'd serve it to you without the glass bottle.
They kept the bottle to return it. If you wanted the bottle, then you had to pay a whole lot more for the whole thing, type of thing. Huh. But yeah, that's how they did. So it was fun because kids loved it because, you had these little bags they're carrying around with rubber bands and the Coke.
Straw. Yeah.
Yeah, straw. Yeah.
I wonder if anybody said, you know what, keep your plastic bag. I'm just going to bring my own cup.
No, they didn't do that. You know, I think it was more of a cultural thing.
Oh, okay.
It was because the bags were cleaner than bringing a cup, type of thing.
Okay.
Now they weren't always kept in sanitary conditions, but they were better, than
They may not be as clean as you would keep it in your own home.
No, they didn't keep them in big Ziploc bags to take them out. Okay.
Okay.
They're just in the bag. They open up the bag and then you pull them out, a bigger bag, and you pull them out, type of thing. But hey, you never, how you say, they never touched the inside of the bag and you never touched the part where they touched. Okay.
Okay.
With your mouth.
It was, it was systematically set up like that.
Yeah. There might be a little bit on the bag itself, but that you touch with your fingers, but you never touch it with your mouth. And so that was good. Yep.
That makes sense. All right, let's check this out. Who had one of these?
Well, I think that looks like a 16 millimeter, which is more of a professional. Most of the homes had 8 millimeter.
Was it it's just a smaller version of this?
Yeah. Yeah. 16 millimeter is what they used in schools and things like that.
A theater, like a movie theater?
No, the movie theaters, they use 35 millimeters.
Oh, okay.
Or 70 millimeter, depending upon the theater,
Okay.
The quality was better the larger the film because they could do a better process of it. Okay. So 8 millimeter, you got the image, but it wasn't always the best image. Okay.
Okay.
It's like a whole lot of home movies were 8 millimeter.
Okay.
60 millimeter, they were able to do a lot of things. They like all the films in schools and all that type of thing was 16 millimeter. And then when they got into theaters, it was 35 or 70 millimeter, depending upon the theater.
Who all on this call had an 8 millimeter in their home?
We did.
Oh, we did, yeah.
Yeah.
We never did have a movie projector.
Never did?
My sister, a few years ago, got all of our film and all of our pictures and sent it off somewhere, and then made a big couple of CDs or DVDs or something out of it.
Converted it all to digital?
Yeah.
Did she get the original back?
I think so.
Yeah, there's a lot of trust that you have to have in that organization to send it off. And then keep your fingers crossed that you get those, because you can't replace those family memories and the recordings,
Now, we never had a projector at home, but I worked on a lot of 16 millimeter projectors when I was in high school and actually did repairs on them.
Oh, did you? Okay. Who taught you how to do that? I wouldn't imagine that would be a simple process.
I figured it out myself, most of it,
Trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error. Thailand, there are some projectors that have been sitting in closets, and I pulled them out and I cleaned them up, and they worked.
I think you were telling me a story once upon a time where you had people come together and you had like a generator that powered the projector, and you had like an outdoor movie type of setup.
Yeah. And the first time I had that, and I didn't realize everything with the generator was not one that had a regulator in it. Okay. So when you turn on the projector, the bulb would pull down the generator. Okay.
Oh.
Well, it blew out the fuses.
Okay.
I didn't have any fuses. So I said, what do I do? So I basically took a piece of bamboo, put a wire in it, and stuck it in as a fuse, and it worked. And then when I got home, I pulled it out and put fuses in it and figured out how to work with it. So
oh my gosh, that's smart.
Yeah, but later on we went to video projectors rather than, and that was a lot more
rather
stable.
than the real.
Right, because it didn't take as much power, much energy, and so I could get the generator running and it would be regulated, and then I could turn it on and it wouldn't bog down, type of thing.
What was let me ask you this, What was the first memory that crossed your mind when you saw this image?
High school.
Okay. Philip, Dusty, what was the first memory that popped into your brain when you see this image?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the only place I
I,
ever saw one, I guess, was at school.
Okay. So memories of being in grade school,
Yeah,
No.
high school, I
in
think.
high
No,
school?
high school, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Philip, what
I was,
about you? Oh, sorry.
oh, go ahead. Go, let Philip talk. I'm sorry.
First memory, Philip.
the first thing that comes to my mind is we had films of us when we were like 6, 7, 8 years old, and
Uh-huh.
I go right to those films that we had because my mom would play them over and over for several years, and
Uh-huh.
they brain whether I want them there or not. It was just a family thing to do.
So they were recordings of family events.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
I was part of the audiovisual club in high school, so we had to take these and go to each room. The teacher requested it, and we had to set it up and run it.
Oh,
Each
okay.
student. When I was in Thailand, I actually took these and I converted the film to digital by basically setting up on a screen and having a video camera there, and it recorded it off of that.
Recording what was being projected onto
Yeah,
the screen.
And for the most part, it worked. There are glitches. You had to figure out the sound because you didn't want the click, 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 click going
I was
on.
going to ask about the sound. So in this picture on the screen, on the right side, actually, here, let me.
Yeah.
I bet you I can do.
The big rectangle thing.
It is. Is that a
That's the speaker grill. There's a
Okay,
speaker in there. Yeah.
that area, something like
Mhm.
that. Well, however I do it. Oh, I see. Ooh, fun. This area right
But,
here.
but there was also on most of them, there was a jack where you could plug in a external speaker.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I did is I took that jack and plugged it into my video camera.
To kind of make your own surround sound, if you will.
Yeah, so
Okay.
and it's like when I was in high school, we had an auditorium
Mm-hmm.
and they showed movies in there, and they had an old big speaker from a theater, and they just plugged it in there, and that whole thing surrounded just that one speaker filled that whole auditorium.
Oh, cool. That's good. Is this this dial down below the speaker? Is that a volume, or is that like projectors now where you can fine tune the?
You would elevate or lower the whole projector.
Oh, okay.
You tilt it up, tilt it down.
Okay. The projector that I have that I just bought recently is there's a dial on it to kind of fine tune the image that's on the screen, and it doesn't move the whole machine, the whole mechanism, but it tilts the way the image shows on the screen.
Yeah. You have a video projector, right?
Yes.
Yeah. There were some fine tunings in there you could work with, when some of them were set up and you couldn't do anything. Others you could do some fine tuning as far as for image quality, sound quality, things like that, and both of them had 2 bulbs in it. One is to project the image and the other was to project the sound, because the sound was recorded with a audible track that ran through light. To pick the images from that track through the light bulb.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that.
They did have magnetic strips on it, most of them, okay? All of the sound came off of the images from the film itself, and it was recorded into the film, but it used light for the sound.
Yeah, I definitely would not have thought that.
Yeah.
Let's check this one out.
On the front, you see that little square to the left of that big dial.
Right here?
Right there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a cutter. So you could clip the ends off to make them straight to go in, okay?
Oh,
Or if
really?
you splice it,
Okay.
you could clip it so they were straight, so you could splice it.
So it feeds through the machine correctly?
Right. Yeah, you know, and some of
Otherwise,
them,
if it misfeeds, would it get bound up and ruin the film?
it would ruin the film. It all makes a total mess. Some of the projectors they had developed, they could automatically feed. Others,
Okay.
you had to manually load
Guide
them.
them through.
How to manually load them.
Uh-huh.
And so, um,
So, you remember on the VHS tapes when you would rent them from Blockbuster or something, and it had the sticker on it that says "Be kind, please rewind." You know, did you have to do that same thing to the film? Here,
oh
you
yeah,
play
Yeah,
it out and then rewind it back.
right. The whole
So
film
you
would go
always
on.
had an empty reel that it would go
Right,
to, and then you would
right.
run it
Then
backwards.
you wind it, and you basically had that arm on the back with the empty reel. That's the way it was when you showed it. When you rewound it, the arm would go up vertical, so it was outside of the mechanism, and it would just rewind back into it.
Oh, okay.
So,
Nice.
and a rewind was much faster than the playing. Let's put it that way.
Let's see here. Let's do one more. What is the first memory this image brings up? Isn't that cute?
uh, uh, too many memories. Sorry.
Yeah. Philip, what's the first memory that you thought of when you saw this image?
What's the first memory you thought of when you saw that?
I think that the first memory I had was, believe it or not, I was watching that guy on TV on Sunday, a guy from England who was wearing those jungle hats. He was an older fellow. I can't think of his name.
All Creatures Great and Small.
Yeah,
So the name of the show.
yeah.
That's a show or a movie?
Yeah, it's TV. It's a memory. She's asking you about a memory. That's his memory.
That's
Sunday.
it. And the name of the show is called All Creatures Great and Small?
Yeah, on Channel 13.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. I'll have to check it out. Is it kind of like a National Geographic type of
No,
show?
it's a little drama based on a real story.
Oh, okay. So it has a storyline and a plot and the whole thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice. Good deal. Dusty, what's the first memory that popped into your mind when you saw this image?
not any. The only time I ever saw an elephant was in the zoo, and that was when I was a little kid.
Uh-huh. Did they allow people to ride on top of them?
I don't remember, but I doubt it. I think they were all behind a fence.
Uh-huh. That sure is a little baby
Yeah.
being guided
Well,
by mama.
but that little baby is very strong.
Oh, I could only imagine.
I remember elephants because we had them in Thailand and we rode them and things like that. And so
Uh-huh.
I remember going to an elephant training camp.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they kind of did shows to keep money, you know, to be able to feed the elements and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we were there, and there was a group of tourists from France,
Okay.
and they had a little baby elephant, and this big guy wanted to show his machoism, and so he was going to push that elephant, and the little baby elephant just ran all over him.
Oh
know,
my gosh.
Because there was, you know, there's so much strength, and elephants are, you know, beautiful, you know, now some of them when they get older are really, particularly the bull elephants or the males, are really territorial, cranky,
Okay.
the thing, very dangerous.
Uh-huh.
But for the most part, particularly the females, they're territorial with their
young ones.
with their young.
They're
Okay?
protective, yeah.
Very much protective. Okay, so you don't want to get between a mother and a baby. Okay.
It's kind of like a
no,
bear. If you see a little bear cub, you
but-
better look out for mama real quick before you mess around with the little one.
Right. But for the most part, they're very gentle. They're big. Now they're fast.
That's what I've heard.
They're fast. Yeah.
I've heard
You
the
would
same
think-
thing about a hippo.
Yeah.
Hippos are very fast.
You would not think about it because of the size of the animal, which is, I think, at this point is the largest mammal still in existence. They had some previous ones that were larger, but the thing is the largest mammal in existence. They are fast.
Are they?
And they will run over everything.
Oh yeah. You get a little Jeep out there to go sightsee or anything like that, and it's just a toy to them.
Well,
What's are they protected? Because you have poachers that want their tusks and things like that. Are they protected in Thailand?
they are protected almost every place in the world. Now there's still poachers, out there, but they are very much protected. They are a sacred animal in Thailand.
Oh, they're considered sacred. Okay.
So they're protected. They have training camps. They where they do it. We were in Bangkok one time. We were sitting in a Pizza Hut restaurant, and all of a sudden we look up and there's an elephant looking right in the window of us. This is in downtown Bangkok. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And people just let them go because they're a sacred animal, and so they don't stop them. Police don't stop them.
What are you going to do anyway? You can't
what are
just
you
tell
gonna
them
do,
scat, get out of here.
You yell scat and get out of there, and then you better run.
Yeah, you better get out of there.
Well, anyway, but yeah, I remember that. We rode them numerous times. Of course, I've seen a lot of them in circuses, zoos. They don't really let them ride there because circuses they have people riding the elephants, and as opposed to what some of our how you say nature lover friends say, elephants were not abused in circuses. Okay, they're very well taken care of. In fact, Ringling Brothers, they had to close down because of all the controversy and that type of thing, for all the animal care. They took very good care of the animals. They actually established in Florida an elephant sanctuary.
Oh, really? Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that being done.
But they took care of all of their animals. They were very good with them.
It kind of looks like I don't know if you can kind of see it, but just above their feet there's a cluster of wrinkles. And it kind of looks like maybe it's their knee. So if they're going to get down, they kind of bend down on just that little area and kind of kneel down before they lay down.
Their knee is farther up. That's more like their ankle.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is the knee closer to where the trunk is crossing the leg?
Look at the baby elephant. You see
Oh,
the
I
knee?
see that. That's right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's about halfway up.
So
I'm just picturing them like a horse. You kind of bend your knee and get down a little and then lay down.
And they do. They will come down, to get on them. Many times they will come down onto their knees, so the trainer or the rider can climb up on top of them.
Uh-oh, what did I do?
You sit right behind their ears. Okay. And they have hairs behind it, and they're very thick and very bristly. So you never want to be in shorts. Okay. You're riding an elephant because they will hurt.
Get a little exfoliating, huh?
They don't hurt on purpose. It's just that's the way it is.
That's just the texture.
Okay. Yep. That's
really interesting. This has been fun. I always learn something new whenever we go through this. Monday is when we usually have Nia, where Emily leads us in Nia, but she's been a little bit under the weather, so she moved her program to Friday. So we're going to do Nia tomorrow and also again on Monday. So we get it on both sides of the weekend.
Okay.
And I was kind of thinking that the weather was really going to be thawing out today, and I've been excited about getting out and going to the gym, just get out of the house and move around a little bit. They were supposed to open today at 12 noon and then they stayed closed. So maybe the roads are not as good as
No, there's
what we
still a lot.
anticipated. So don't try getting out and about today.
There's still a lot of ice and things on the road, particularly sort of in the
It might take
shaded
a little
areas.
time to de-ice.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, stay safe and stay warm. Hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow and it'll be a
Okay.
little bit warmer.
All right, Heather. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Bye,
Steve.
Dusty. Bye,
Thanks,
Philip.
Dusty.
Good weekend. Or
What's
good.
happening tomorrow?
Nia. Emily is doing Nia
Oh,
moving
okay,
to
you
heal.
just said that. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. We're doing that. So if you come tomorrow, be sure and wear clothes it's easy to move around in.
Yeah, I'm slow, but I'm old.
No problem.
Hey, we're all that way. So
Yeah.
anyway, except for Heather, she's the young chicken in there.
I know. Well, I got to keep something to look forward to, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. I'll see you guys later. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Bye.